not shitting myself during the podcast.
Well, the good thing is, welcome everybody to the next episode of Spectacular. We are a podcast that talks about movies and shit, mostly shit. And I am one of your hosts, Brandon. And of course, you heard about my best friend's bowel movements and what they're like.
Or lack
Mike.
thereof.
Lack thereof. And today we are reviewing the movie called Nobody. And Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about that movie?
Nobody from 2021.
And have you noticed that a lot of our movies lately have been new, even though we're watching movies that we've never seen before? But I mean, like...
That makes sense.
Right.
Like, it would have to be new.
Not exactly. Like
I mean, they don't have to be. But...
Right. Like the movie we're going to watch next, which we'll tell everybody about, is from like the 80s.
Yeah, true.
So anyway, continue. Tell us about Nobody.
2021, directed by, I'm not going to get this right, Ilya Naishuller. Naishuller.
What's important is you tried. Now, I'm sure that director would appreciate that you tried, but they would also... They'd say, don't ever talk to me again.
He directed that Hardcore Henry movie.
Oh, then I don't like him anymore. That movie gave me nausea.
I don't remember hating it, but it was...
I didn't hate it either, but it was just, that POV, it was just rough.
Written by Derek Kolstad. He wrote John Wick.
Yeah.
So starring Bob Odenkirk, a docile family man slowly reveals his true character after his house gets burgled. Ooh, I like that word.
We've talked about it.
Have we really? Mm-hmm. By two petty thieves, which coincidentally leads him into a bloody war with a Russian crime boss.
Okay. Well, yeah, that. I mean, ultimately sounds like to give those two burglars credit in a synopsis when they're barely in it. Like they're in it for like a couple of seconds.
They're like the catalyst though for the movie though, right?
Yeah, they're barely fucking in it. Yet, yes, it is a catalyst to it all, because if he didn't go to get that from them, he would have never been on the bus to beat those guys' asses. Now, to be fair to those guys, they're pieces of shit anyway. They not only get in an accident right next to the bus, that bus person should have kept going or get the fuck out of there, because those guys, and they just try to get on the bus like nothing happened.
She opens the door for them.
She does. I think maybe she felt obligated that she's a...
Maybe they require, like, we can't deny rides to citizens.
Maybe. But, so this movie...
Let me check my MTA handbook.
Your OCTA. Yeah. So Bob Odenkirk.
Guidelines and bylaws.
Mm-hmm. I love Bob Odenkirk.
I gotta say, maybe it's just me. Mm-hmm. Maybe I was just...
Probably is.
Maybe just a few too many glasses of wine I had last night.
Mm-hmm. Too many strokes of your dick. Some might say there's not enough strokes.
But... Yeah, there's never. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Let's use both hands.
They're like hitting each other like top to bottom. Like, yeah, okay.
Oh, that's cute. You could think I used two hands at once.
Well, you're using each hand's individual thumb.
Depends how many fingers.
Yeah. It's like, what's that little, the marble toy? The marbles that'll hit each side, you know how they go back?
Yeah.
But it's just the ends hitting. So anyway, continue.
Cling, cling, cling. Not that bad looking.
Odenkirk?
Yeah. I mean, with the
note I have
here, the scruff on his face.
His real life, when he was at the Emmys, he was full bearded. I was like, fuck yeah. And he's all gray.
Yeah.
But he looks great.
I think it's just like his hair, because it's thinnish. Okay. It's not really losing it, but kind of thinnish with that kind of like white dude comb over.
Mm-hmm. Like Ryan Reynolds has a hairstyle like that too.
No, what?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, but his is more like lush.
His is full. Yeah, his is fuller hair, but that's the way
you would just want to run your fingers through it.
Okay.
But Bob's a little thin, but he's had it since for a fucking Mr. Show. His hair, he had the same fucking hair.
Yeah, so. You can't do much with that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's like people with widow's peak. Like, what can you do?
Hey, bro, look fucking good. That's what we do with it.
So, as I was saying, Odenkirk though, for many, many years. I mean, he was a writer for Simpsons, good friends with Conan O'Brien, Mr. Show, many, almost all comedy is what he's mostly done. And then he does Better Call Saul.
Breaking Bad first.
Well, yes, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. And they realize how much of an actor he really is, like how versatile he is. And
you say versatile or versatile?
Versatile.
Okay.
Do you say versatile?
I don't say it that often in my life, but if I were to say it, I would go fancy, versatile.
Versatile.
Fancy, versatile.
Do you say... No, never mind. I was going to say touche, but do you say touche?
Tucci?
Tucci.
Tucci gay.
Yeah. So I have yet to see the final episode of Better Call Saul.
Why?
Because I know how it's going to end. Like, ultimately, some stuff got spoiled.
He doesn't die.
No, I know that. Ultimately, some of the stuff got spoiled. But I was like, and watching the episode prior to the final, I know how he's going to get caught. And they kind of lay it out. I'm like, and I just don't want to see it end. But from what I've understood and read, utter masterpiece is what.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
it was really good.
Yeah, just Vince and what's his co-producer?
Oh, I don't know.
But there's a guy that does like everything with him, and just like Breaking Bad was, like perfect. And I just don't want it to end. But at the same time, I'm gonna have to.
Was the end of Breaking Bad considered perfect?
I mean, from a lot of stuff I've read, like people consider it like up there as when it comes to how the whole series.
It was exciting. I don't know. I want to say people weren't.
What would you say is a perfect show?
Oh,
Power Rangers.
I don't know if there's such a thing, but I mean, I'm talking specifically like at the time. They're like, oh, it's a really good ending. Maybe it didn't quite, but like over time, it's been more appreciated. I think like that final season, like especially like the penultimate one, where that's the one I was like, oh, that's top TV.
Every now and then I rewatch that scene where they kill all those inmates like in under a minute or whatever it is, or under 2 minutes or something like that. And I was like, that sucks. A lot of those guys are just straight-minded, but still, great television nonetheless.
I mean, I've told you about the methylamine train heist, right?
Maybe.
I mean, it was literally like, it's the most anxious I've ever been watching television.
When they were under the train, they shoot the kid. If you haven't seen Breaking Bad, sorry, shoot a fucking kid. And that's what ultimately is the demise of Jesse Pinkman.
But I remember like being off of work, so it's like 3:00 or something. No, just by myself watching it.
Naked,
of course. And like literally like out of my chair, like grabbing my hair.
Mayonnaise.
I'm like, oh, just dipping my.
Hey, wait.
Why mayonnaise?
So gross.
Think of a fucking ogre. How fucking dare you?
It's so fatty. And it's like chunky a little bit and stuff. And you got like the jumbo size from Costco, so your hand can't
I
fit
have to be able to fit my hand in there.
You have your hand and soon to be claw because you got diabetes and shit. So you're a monster. Oh, God.
Just jam my nub in there, just lick it off the tip. Oh my God, you're a fucking terrible person. I hate you so much.
No, you're gonna have your nub, but you're gonna have each nub has like a serving spoon on it. So when you put it in the hole, you get extras. You get it on your hand that you can lick off.
What has a spoon, a fork, a knife?
Yeah,
a spork.
It's a versatile nub. Anyhow, so you're at home, you're watching something.
Oh no, that was the end of the story. Like it was just so intense and nerve-wracking, but impressive.
For a lot of
a TV show, by the way, right? It wasn't even a movie.
Well, even AMC though, it didn't have a lot of viewers when it was like 2 million or something like that. But it was just so like on Netflix and stuff like that. That's where it got more of its following and everything.
Correct.
So
like it honestly wasn't till that maybe the season before where it got like the millions and millions of viewers.
Yeah.
Never approached like Walking Dead numbers.
No. I mean, unfortunately, I don't know how Walking Dead still. I mean, we talked about this before, but I just don't get the Walking Dead appeal. Zombies are great and everything, but I can't fathom why people.
It's about the people.
It's not.
The people are the monsters.
Walking Dead I see as like Dragon Ball Z, where it's like it'll take 6 episodes to get one thing accomplished. It's like, oh no, Goku's making his spirit bomb, and he's powering up for like 3 episodes, and nothing happens in between. Walking Dead is just as bad. Oh, Negan has to go do this, and 3 episodes of filler, and then he gets that thing accomplished. It's like, well, and I understand television has to work that way. You have to fill in the gaps, but oh, fuck you. Anyway, so Odenkirk though, he had a heart attack last year, last year when they were filming. He wasn't in the middle of filming, but they were filming Breaking Bad. Heart attack.
Better Call Saul.
Yeah, exactly. It was I think they were filming the final part of this last season, so the second part of it. And he had a heart attack. He was out for like maybe like a month or 2, and then he went back to filming and stuff. But I remember feeling genuine like sadness, like that he could die, because I've always liked Odenkirk. Now David Cross though, who's like his cohort, just like you to me, they're like best friends and shit. I'm okay about David Cross. I think he's all right.
If he were to die,
I wouldn't have felt as bad. Like it would suck. Ultimately, I don't want anybody to ever die. My worst enemies, I don't have like enemies, but I have people that I know would
not anymore.
Yeah, none that anybody will find. But I would never want physically ever someone to get hurt. But if David Cross, no. But like again, if David Cross died, I'm like, oh, that sucks. But if Odenkirk died, I'm like, oh man. Like it was like when Heath Ledger died.
Yeah.
I was genuinely really bummed out when Michael Jackson died. You know.
Oh, Aretha. I was sad.
Yeah,
Super
I mean, I had to
sad.
give her R-E-S-P-E-C-T, and there's just certain celebrities that obviously I've never met, but yet there's just something about them that I feel like a genuine, like, kind of. I think with Heath Ledger, I think the movie that really made me like him was, it has to be 10 Things I Hate About You. Maybe Knight's Tale, but 10 Things I Hate About You was probably the pinnacle of my. And then when he was in Dark Knight, I was like, fuck. At first, when they cast him, I was like, But then seeing the stills of him before the movie came out, I was like, fuck, dude, that looks spooky. In a good way. And then obviously he won for Best Supporting Actor posthumously. Well deserving still. Do you think there's a little bit of, like, since he died, do you think there's kind of like a...
I don't know. I think he was the front runner.
Okay.
Like, from the
No matter what.
word jump, yeah.
Well, fucking, what's his name nominated too? Day.
Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yeah, Daniel Day. Wasn't he nominated for something at the same time too?
2008.
That wouldn't There Will Be Blood.
2007.
But he was also a very big advocate for Heath Ledger too, though.
2008, 2007.
I remember he was on like talk shows talking about him and stuff like that. How like genuinely hurt he was. But
Yeah.
are they both from Australia? Where's Daniel Day? Is he from England?
He's English.
English. Okay, never mind. Because I think Heath was Australian.
Yes. But yeah, that would be the same time. Those movies came out at the same time.
Okay. So either way, but Daniel Day would be a leading. He wouldn't have been a supporting. Okay, yeah. So,
But he did win too.
Yeah. If Odenkirk would have actually been dead, again, I would have been pretty upset. And not that I could do anything about it, but then reading like up about it, like Rhea Seehorn, who's she plays his wife in Better Call Saul. She plays God, I always forget her fucking name in that show. But either way, I really like her.
Saulina.
Yeah, I had never heard of her prior to Breaking Bad, but then watching her, I'm like, she's fucking amazing. And she said that her and one of the other actors in the show were like devastated because like they were with him when that happened, and like they were like rushed to him and they're doing all this shit, and it made me sad. But again, he's alive and well now, so it's good. But he looks fucking so sexy with a full beard, like even with the stubble, like, he looks great.
I didn't watch the Emmys, but now I want to just look up.
Yeah, just look up the stills. Like, he looks good. Did you ever watch Mr. Show? Did you ever watch the stuff that him and David would do? Mm-hmm. Did you like them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
They're silly.
I didn't. It's kind of like that and like SCTV, a little older, but like I didn't watch them like religiously, but like the stuff that I would see, like it's super funny. I enjoy it.
I would agree. Yeah, I wasn't big on those either. Like SCTV, SC. I knew of it, but I wasn't like I didn't watch it. Right. Just like what was it? Kids in the Hall. I didn't watch that until a little later.
Kind of all of them. Kids in the Hall. Whitest.
I loved Whitest Kids. I was already old enough when Whitest Kids You Know came out. Okay. I was already like a late teenager or something like that. And did you know they made a movie? Like it's an animated movie. It's unfortunate that what's his name is dead. Trevor. Like, I mean, they say he committed suicide or something like that. Like off a balcony or yeah. He was so funny.
Super funny.
And like that whole show. Like some of those bits. Like, oh my god. That's so good. And I've told you before, I like that kind of humor where it's like, ooh, like they'll push that line, and I value that kind of humor because because comedy is comedy. It's to make a joke, and I know people will take it sometimes far in that essence, but they're making a joke, so I don't take it to heart. But there's times like shit, like that's borderline fucked up, but I like it. And that's the kind of humor that I would want to occasionally write too, where someone's like, "Oh, that's pretty good." So the RZA is in this movie. None of his other pals from Wu-Tang, but you barely see him. I
almost didn't understand the relationship because he listens to him through the stereo. It's an old radio.
It's an old radio. So I believe RZA's doing like he's just broadcasting, and maybe that's just the way they communicate. I didn't see a microphone on Odenkirk's side, but
I didn't realize. Like, I'm like, is this person in his head that he's talking to?
Oh, that'd be fucked up. Like maybe he's making up these characters in his mind or something. That was loud. But go ahead.
Because I thought for a second it was.
Was that a sneeze or a cough?
It's a cough.
Okay, I was gonna say bless you. Not that I believe in religion or anything.
Because like with the RZA, like if he never showed up, like I'm like, oh, is this just somebody in his head? So like he's almost imagining it.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought like maybe if there was like the movie was super crazy or fucked up, the whole thing would turn into like a fantasy, and like he is actually just like kind of like a gentle kind of wussy kind of guy, and like all of this secret agent stuff or whatever is completely in his head.
Like straight, what was that movie with Russell Crowe, where he was like a brilliant mind? Was it A Beautiful Mind?
Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, but like he made up a lot of the characters in that because the guy, from what I understood,
but that's like mental illness.
Sure.
But like this, I thought like, and it would like at the very end like flash back to his house
the robbery,
something like that.
Well, first of all,
just him on the bus getting like pushed by someone like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, he gets bumped into it. He says sorry. Yeah. Are you the kind of person that will say sorry even though it's like, or you say ow when things don't even hurt? Like someone will play ow. Like, are you prone to be that person?
I do that with people that I know. Like, and then if I ever like hit my shoulder like on a door or like kick something with my foot, even if I'm wearing shoes, I always go, oh, like just to be silly.
Yeah, I think
but that's just for myself.
Right.
That one's for me.
When I play basketball, obviously it's a physical sport. And if someone were to touch me, I'm like, don't touch me. Like, especially when I've never played with this person before, I'll say that and they'll kind of look at me. I'm like, I'm just kidding. But just to like, because, if I'm on offense and they're on defense, they're trying to, stop me from getting
because sometimes it bleeds into like the real world. So like, I'll make the sound like, oh, I was like, are you okay? I'm like, oh, I'm just fucking around.
That was a very deep groan, Mike. Like, I know you're getting older, but like, someone, they'll put like their hand on like my waist to kind of like, they're watching the ball over here, right? And they'll put me, so they know where I'm at. They know where I'm at. And I'll go, don't fucking touch me. And they'll look at me. I'm like, I'm just kidding. And then I'm holding their hand. No, but I do like the, grip me harder. Whisper in their ear. Oh yeah. Oh, grip daddy. So anyway, but I'll do that kind of shit. But when I was younger, I would do that. Like, so someone would like bump me. I'm like, ow. Like, even though I'm not saying that to make them feel bad, it was just instinctively.
Yeah.
And then even saying sorry. Like, there was times
I say sorry. Yeah.
When I bump something, but it's the most insignificant thing, and the person didn't even. I'm sorry about that. And they're just like, huh? And I was, oh, okay.
That's the thing I don't recognize, like in real life, at least for me, in movies like this, where there's like just heightened levels of like just masculinity, I guess you want to say.
Sure.
So like somebody, like in a movie like this, you can imagine somebody bumping his shoulder really hard and be like, out of the way, nerd, or just some shit like that.
Get out of the way, Poindexter.
Yeah. But like that shit, I've never experienced that. Like most of the time, if I say sorry, someone will say sorry back. So.
Right. Like, yeah, I don't think there's been many instances. The instance I get a lot is when I'll hold the door for somebody and they don't acknowledge. And I'm like, okay, you're welcome. Like, that's the only time where or obviously if I'm driving, like, I'll be a little aggressive. Someone doesn't, like, I'm waiting to turn right and someone's going straight and they don't use their blinker to let me know they're going to turn. So I'm like, you fucking fuckface. If I see someone's waiting for me, I'll put my blinker on so they know I'm turning in so they can go a little early or whatever it is instead of waiting that extra 5 seconds max. But the thing that really kills me if I hold the door for someone, like a couple weeks ago, I held the door for someone and he walked out and he looked at me and didn't acknowledge and do anything. I was like, oh, you're welcome. And then he turned to look at me and I was just like, but he kept walking. And like, again, even just a nod. Now, again, I'm not holding this door for the acknowledgement.
It kind of sounds like you are.
But the fact of the matter is I would still acknowledge somebody if they did it for me. Thank you. Like, it's a very kind thing to do for somebody. Somebody drops something. Like, if it's in my reach, of course I'm gonna, or like I might make an attempt, and they'll still get.
That's another sound I make for like the fake reach, like the.
Again, it makes me think of Mr. Science Theater with The Last Sacrifice.
Oh, that's right.
He's just turning pages of a book. Anyway, but no, those are good. See, that's the thing though, with doing those sound effects in real life. And you're doing it for your amusement, someone might be like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" It
leads into real. Yeah. I'm like, "Oh
do you
shit,
have fibromyalgia
people
or something?"
Are actually, yeah.
I've told you.
It's almost more fun when people accidentally.
I've told you my fibromyalgia story, right? So there is an ex-girlfriend that she told me that her friend had it. I was like, "Cool," not knowing what that even was, because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
And so and that was in the back of my head, like fibromyalgia. So,
I only know it from commercials for medication.
Oh, of course.
And I'm still not even sure it actually exists.
From my understanding is your, like any kind of movement, right? Your body can just be, you're inflamed. There's pain. And so you take medicine to reduce it.
Is it a nerve issue?
I think so. Again, I am no doctor or mathematician, but I do believe that it's something like that. So
I'm not a science guy.
But we were at like a market and she had reached for something. She went like, and I mimicked her.
Oh
like,
no!
I know, and I was like,
I remember you saying this.
Yeah,
yes.
and she like gave me the dirtiest look, and I was like, like just being light of it. And then she walked away, and I was like, that's not good. So then I went and told the ex, and I was like, hey, I like kind of mimicked what she did when she was reaching for something. And she's like, she has fibromyalgia. And I was like, look, you're saying that like I know what that means. And she's like, you said okay earlier. I was like, yeah, because I don't know. And she told me.
Oh, you're having like a Smalls moment at that point. You're like, the Great Bambino. Yeah. Baby Ruth.
Oh,
Baby
yeah,
Ruth.
exactly.
Who is she?
Yeah.
Like, that's what you had. You had no idea. Like, everyone keeps yelling these words at you. You're like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, him, yeah. So she told me that, and I was like, oh. So I went and apologized, and she's like, oh, it's cool. We never saw them again. And that was her friend. And so I felt bad about that. It's still a funny story to tell.
100%.
And
I'm here with it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, because you know who I am, an idiot. So again, it makes me think of all those many times where you've been around too, where I make an asshole of myself, unbeknownst to myself, or even beknownst, or even when, or the times or the. Look, Brandon, you're a little too nonchalant. We need you to just be a little chalant. But then there's those times where I would just have my sweat attacks out of just fucking nowhere. And not out of nowhere, but like the most minuscule thing to make me uneasy, like to make me nervous, and I'm drenched in sweat. Like returning items that I purchased is such a struggle for me that the person at the register doesn't give a fuck. Like, oh, is there anything wrong with it? No. Okay. But I'm already like,
I've had
my sweat on my forehead.
The last bit of like external or embarrassment.
Existential? Oh.
Embarrassment for somebody else
Yeah.
is I get a little nervous reading,
Out loud.
I guess, public speaking.
Popcorn mic.
Once I get going, I'm actually pretty good at it, I think. But that initial like rush,
So you have to get the little chugga.
I gotta get it. You gotta warm it up. You know,
You got how
Work
Mike got
it
his
out.
Mike got his
Work
groove
it out,
back.
everybody.
Yeah.
So there's definitely like, if it's at work, but there's 20 people in the room. You're like, hey, Mike, can you read this chapter? I'm like,
You sound like Kif from fucking Futurama.
But if like someone else is reading and then I can hear them kind of like the voice quiver and them kind of freaking out, then I get extra nervous for them and it's uncomfortable.
Do this. Find something on your phone for me to read that I've probably never read before, and I will read it right now. And
This doesn't work.
Why doesn't it work?
It's only 2 people here.
So, okay, fine. You need a room of people?
Yeah. Well, it's public speaking.
There's still many times where I will even struggle with words. Not that I'm like some fucking brilliant reader that I know every word in the dictionary, but just many times where I said, didn't I tell you where I said the word flummoxed, but I said like flummoxed or something like that?
Flummoxed
or whatever. And my coworkers at the time were like, do you mean flummoxed? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I was making a joke.
You guys
obviously.
caught it. And I still didn't know what that word meant. And you may remember that one weekend I was like, hey, do you know what flummoxed means? And you told me immediately. And I was like, motherfucker. But I have never used that word. And it just makes me think of even the word indignant. I had used that before, and you don't hear that often.
Right.
And I had said that, and I was like, oh, God, I'm so indignant. And everyone's like, what does that mean? I was like, I was just upset. I was mad. And they're like, why didn't you say mad? I was like, I don't know, because there's other words for other words. But then again, that makes me look back at that, my stupid-ass word thing. There's other words for other words, and not to think flummoxed is... But either way, I use that word, but I probably still use it incorrectly. Anyhow, back to this movie.
Anyway, so I was watching this movie flummoxedly, and all of a sudden...
I was watching this movie called Flubber, and I got very flummoxed, and then at the same time, I had a little flatulence, and I had to, any FL word. So
I didn't even go over who else is in this movie.
Oh, yeah, please.
So we have Aleksey Serebryakov.
He was the villain, correct?
He's Ilya.
Yeah.
Connie Nielsen, looking good. Christopher Lloyd, looking old as fuck.
He looks, I hate to say this, decrepit.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he's supposed to be because he's
the dad. He's old.
He's in a home,
right?
So that makes sense.
Did you see the thing of him as Rick and Morty, or as Rick?
No.
They did a little short thing for Rick and Morty where it was him and I don't know the other actor, but just really quick, just as like a tease.
I just always roll my eyes at that stuff. But go ahead.
Well, that was the premise of Rick and Morty too. Was obviously the names of it.
Right.
So, but they did that for fun, and it was them. He's like, oh, I think we messed up, Morty. Oh, jeez. And then like they had a little bit. That was almost an okay Morty.
I didn't hate it.
I don't want to do voices right now, but my Rick used to be okay. Like I'm gonna have to.
Have you guys heard my Michael Caine? You fucking stupid piece of shit.
Here's my Rick Sanchez. You're only supposed to He's like, it'd be like, gee, Morty, you're acting like a little bitch. That's okay.
That's okay.
But Morty
Sanchez, that's the last name. I
Yeah.
never seen a
Rick
single
Sanchez.
episode of
Yeah.
the show.
But that was him, and then obviously his wife married to be. I don't know Morty's last name. I should know this. Either way, the new season's out.
It's Morty Mortensen.
Yeah, Morty Mortz. So,
Well, I mean, so he's old in Back to the Future, but they kind of age him up.
Yeah,
and
they
then-
definitely did.
But even when in the 50s, he's still old. Maybe it's just like the white hair that does it.
and the ball.
So to see him now, like he looks like what's the dad from Everybody Loves Raymond?
Okay, yeah, he's been around for a long. He was in fucking Young Frankenstein as Frankenstein.
I was gonna say like he looked kind of like Frankenstein for Young Frankenstein because he's so super duper old. But
Yeah.
still good to see him.
There's just many people that
I
you
don't
just
remember
see.
the last time you saw him in a movie.
He's dead. So
No, I mean Christopher Lloyd.
Oh yeah. Okay, sorry. Everybody loves Raymond. It's just there's many actors where it's like he's been old for 30 years already. Like Ed Harris. Anytime I look at that motherfucker, like wasn't he in Remember the Titans?
I think-
and like other shit where it's like he was old then, and that
He
was
was
like
not Remember the
2000. What movie was he in?
The Rock?
Okay, fine. He was in The Rock, yes. And again, that's the 90s. And then he looked even old then. And now he looks even more old, but he's still fucking killing it. Like Westworld and stuff like
Peter Boyle. I can remember. That's the dad's name. But anyway.
okay. Like Westworld, well, I don't want to talk about Westworld now because that last season was just disappointing. But still, there's just certain acters that you see that
Did I ever tell you? Like I even looked up. If you're to like go through like my Google history, it's like Ed Harris hair because I've never like. Assuming he had hair at some point.
right. Right before it's Ed
like-
Harris porn.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're looking
No,
for
it's Ed Harris dick.
Dick hairs.
Yeah.
Is what it was. You're wondering, does the carpet match the drapes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get
just to
the
make sure.
the question mark, but the italicized. Thing.
Yeah, so he doesn't have hair on the top, but it's always on the side.
It's just a big U.
It's in the crotch pit. It's just going through the crotch pit underneath his balls.
Around his balls and then up the sides.
So not on the balls,
No,
but
no,
underneath
no.
it.
Yeah,
like,
underneath.
As if there's like a cock ring.
Just around the gooch.
It's like a
and then up the side.
It's like a horseshoe. It's a horseshoe, really.
Yeah.
That's what it's like, supporting his testicles
Yeah.
too. It's
Hair,
keeping them
a
up.
hair of support.
Oh fuck.
So he looks old. Michael Ironside, also in the movie, looking thick.
Richter, he's thick. I mean,
He's-
he's getting up there too. He's been bald for a very long time. In my note,
I was like, is that Brian Dennehy? What is happening? But that motherfucker should be okay. So.
my note for him is fucking Richter, and because I will always associate him with Total Recall and See You at the Party Richter, but he plays always a
of
good
him as
villain.
Ratcatch, Roughnecks.
Oh, and Rico, yeah, Rico's rough. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because he was the teacher.
How do you say his last name? Ratcatch. Racketch.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
But we did watch Chef Troopers. That was like maybe 10 episodes back. So
But that's a long time ago. That's what, 97, 98 or something like that?
when he was still
fucking
thinner,
super
he still had like his hair, but he looks good with that like goatee, Fu Manchu. Not
He
Fu
does,
Manchu,
yeah, it
but
doesn't
like
look too
the-
bad.
Yeah, but
Well, I
he's
liked him
thick.
because he was sympathetic towards
Odenkirk.
to Hutch.
Yeah. Which another note I had on here, even when he initially talks to him, he's like, "Hey, I'm rooting for you," but still the disrespect everybody gives him because they think that he's just like this kind of like wiener guy.
Yeah.
But obviously not knowing.
Actually,
his...
now that you say that, it's almost more pathetic because he has like sympathy for him.
Yeah.
He's like, "There you go, little buddy," like tapping him on the head as opposed to just being an asshole to
Yeah.
to him.
Like the brother, Charlie, who's
true.
a total skis. But I love the way he looks. The slick back hair, the way he looks. But he's like, he puts the gun at him. Don't worry, say it, son. Oh, and he like fucking, now it is. I thought that was really good.
I fucking hate stuff like that. Like in
I know. Like the macho alpha fucking dude. Take the fucking gun, bro. Defend my sister. Like, I get it. You're trying to look out for your sister, but you're a fucking douchebag. And
because there's ways to do it, like art of self defense. Like
Right.
it's super, like
toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Well, again, that guy, whoever his name was, he played that character well for as briefly as you saw him. And a question prior to that scene where you meet them in the office is, how did those thieves get in the house? Was the garage door going down when he got home that they put a pizza box there? Or did they push that garage door up and propped it with a pizza box? That's what I don't understand. Because that's how they said they got in.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so...
Well, plus most garage doors, like if it hits something, it'll come back up on its
yes,
own.
correct. But like, they don't really explain. And that's okay.
It's minor. It's not
Right.
I understand. I understand what you're saying. Yes, but Or maybe it was open and then you just slide it in. So when they do finally try to close it,
wouldn't still.
Maybe you're like casing the joint, right?
Unless they didn't put the box over the sensor, because if anything goes past that sensor or blocks that sensor, it's not going to go down.
Sure.
So maybe if the sensor's right here, you guys can't see it, but I'm holding up my hand, and then the box like stops right there, so it's right before the sensor, because there's that little bit of gap. Then maybe, but
also though, like what state is this movie in? Because not all states might require a sensor on the garage doors.
That's true.
You're thinking with a California mindset.
Well, yeah, that's the best mindset you can have.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Like California living, as my friend, I think you know him.
One, we know how to party.
Right. Well, and my friend Tupac, as he said it best, is West Coast is best coast.
Mm-hmm.
So Biggie,
that's a given.
Biggie, Puff Daddy. Well, I don't think was he P Diddy. I don't know what. Does he go by Sean Combs now? I don't know what he goes by. Okay, just Diddy. They can all suck a dick because West Coast is best coast. He's got Dr. Dre. You got Tupac. You got Snoop Dogg.
Kendrick.
You got Kendrick. Yeah. Kendrick is like fucking 5'4". That guy, like, I tower over that little fucker.
He's so little.
He is a very little man. Did you listen to his new album?
We listened together. Remember?
You're right. And it was okay.
It was a bit much.
Yeah, it was okay. His single I thought was the best out of all of it, because that was one where his face was morphing and all that shit too. It was great. Album I liked it, but it wasn't like. I
have to give it another listen.
Yeah, it wasn't like Nope. No, Damn. I'm sorry, it was called Damn. Yeah, not Nope. But I like Kendrick no matter what.
It's just so
it's raw. It's very raw. And like the one song where it's like he's yelling.
Like you're talking about like secondary embarrassment, like that's our anxiety for somebody else. I'm like
secondary uncomfortable,
putting that shit out for everybody.
Well, again, the song where he's like yelling with the woman and stuff.
Oh my god!
And I just got a little uncomfortable, but at the same time,
not only that, it's like 8 minutes long or however long it is. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ!
Seems like
or it just felt like that.
Mm-hmm. But again, I think I've maybe listened to it one other time fully. But again, as I'm driving, so I didn't get to really like listen.
Plus, you're coming off
Damn, which is your best album. Not to say he's had great songs.
Well, no,
prior.
I mean you have To Pimp a Butterfly,
then
which is a masterpiece,
sure,
like undeniably, and then Damn, which I also think is really, really.
And then he did Black Panther stuff. He collaborated with a bunch of shit, and he was just for like 5 years he was just killing it. So. And not to say again this one is bad, but I forgot that Damn even came out in like 2016.
It's fucking old.
It's old,
yeah.
But like I was still listening to it years. I mean, obviously you'll still listen to albums after that. I still listen to Mars Volta, and they haven't made an album in 15 years, 20 years.
They literally just had one yesterday.
Did they really? Because I've seen it really quick. I have seen a lot of stuff.
It's like you just missed it. Yeah,
I've seen a lot of stuff of Cedric and them, like a lot of things. I'm like, that's weird. Maybe they're celebrating an anniversary or something like that. I didn't know they made a new album. Yeah. So good for them. Is it good? Some fan you are. If you haven't even listened to it.
No. Well, I got the vinyl and I want to hear it on vinyl first, but it got shipped yesterday, so I haven't listened to it yet. So
I can put it on Spotify right now.
You could absolutely do it.
Okay.
But don't do it because
sure.
I don't want to.
So
have me run out the room like no.
Walk into your eyes are closed and you walk into a wall. So there.
Oh, see, I just did it. Yeah. But it's not very Mars Volta-y in the traditional sense. So that's where some people are like, "What is this? Is pop music? Like, what the hell is this? Like,
short, you've read reviews already.
3-minute songs." Well, that's the funny thing. Like, the reviews are actually been pretty good.
Okay.
But it's like users, in the community,
critics like it, but
everyone's like, But then you have the people that are just like, do you really love it, or you just love it because you love them? Which I understand, but you got to actually give it a critical listen.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like, obviously,
the other largest Mars Volta fan that I know, Leslie, did not enjoy it.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing about Leslie. I was gonna say something like blatantly mean, but I like Leslie. So. It's like with...
So, opinion to be determined.
Sure. TBD. So, the Yeah, they have an album coming out soon. And anytime I see that a single came out, like I immediately listen to it because I love the Yeah. And the last 2 songs I've heard, I'm like, well, sounds just like them. But at the same time, there is always that uncertainty because initially I didn't like Mosquito when they released it. But then upon listening to it a few more times and stuff like that, I'm like, this is a really good album. It is good.
Sometimes stuff takes time. 100%.
But my next example, though, The Faint. So The Faint had Blank Wave Arcade, which I think was their what's their first one called? Not EP.
I do not remember.
Okay, whatever. Their first album was Blank Wave Arcade. It was good. The next one though was Dance Macabre, and that was great. Oh no, it wasn't. No, I'm sorry. Was it Dance Macabre? No, or something like that. Right. Okay, that album amazing, and then I think they made after that. Was it Wet from Birth? And it was just completely different. And I gave it a few like chances just listening to it, and I was just like, this is just not good. And I know there's many bands that'll happen. Like they want to change how they sound, they want to try something new, but like sometimes it's just you should have fucking stuck to your shit. But I still whenever I hear Dance Macabre or Blank Wave Arcade, any of those songs, I'm like, yay. But if something comes on from Wet From Birth, I'm like, mm-mm. And they made another album after that, still sounds just as shit. But I'll listen to the Mars Volta, and then when you listen to it, then we will collaborate, and then we can either be mutually sad. But you're definitely a bigger Mars Volta fan than I am. Like I only really knew about them because of you. I had heard of them, but not like listened to them really. Just like the one prior that they wasn't
at the drive-in.
At the drive-in. Same thing for them. I knew of them, but never listened to them until you. Just like jazz music. I had never really listened to it. Didn't understand it. Cause I'm like, it sounds like they're playing their own fucking song. When did they start singing? Not that, but it's just like they're all playing their own song. And I'm like, what is happening here? Like the guy on the guitar is like boom, 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 boom. That's more of a bass, but boom, boom. And then the other drums like like yeah, like hey guys, are we gonna make this sound like it's going to this like the same thing, the same beat, the same tempo? No, that's how jazz works. But
what about this jazz music?
Jazz.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as staunch or rigid in my like requirements for my bands. Like, if you can take your music like literally anywhere you want to take it. I mean, hopefully that's why people love you.
Problem with that though?
No. The problem. Well, let me tell you what my problem is.
No, let me tell you what my problem is with you.
First, it's your voice.
Yeah.
No.
Actually, it'd be face first.
So the problem is if it's just not good. Like, I'll go with you literally anywhere. If you're a band that I've liked for a long time, like, if it's like a crazy departure of what you did, like, if it's good and I like it, like, I'm 100% with you. So, for example, like the Mars Volta, like, they've had like 3 singles come out. Okay. And the very first one was like just super salsa-y, real dancey, not crazy proggy like they used to be. But it was just, but it grew. So
would you say some of their original stuff was even kind of tribal sometimes?
Yeah. Well, yeah, okay, yeah.
Like, cause just like even I think one of my favorite songs was "The Apparatus Is on Earth."
This apparatus must be on Earth.
Mm-hmm. Like, I fucking love the end of it because it's like reversed, like when they're hitting those, and that gets me so fucking hyped. Yeah. And
hard as a rock.
I'm throbbing. I am literally leaking from my fucking dick. I'm ready to goddamn go, and that part gets me. And there's even in Francis the Mute, like it's like the second song of that album, something inept or I'd have to, but it's the first song's like no, and then it says I've been waiting for so long. No, that's the apparatus. That's apparatus. Fuck, I don't remember what the song is.
You might still be thinking of DeLaus and Inertiatic ESP.
Maybe. Wait, but I know there's many a song. Okay, yeah, but I know there's many songs on Francis the Mute that I like too.
There's only like 5 songs on that album.
First and foremost, but they're long. Many. Some of those are long, aren't they? Long, yeah. Like 12 minutes, maybe not 12.
Yeah. I mean, the last song is literally 30 minutes long.
That's fucking. I was gonna say a word that's not appropriate anymore, so that's stupid. But yeah, I mean, again, because of you and Leslie, I got into the Mars Volta, which also brings me back to the time where you guys went to see the Mars Volta, and I wasn't invited. Correct. And I was upset. Not upset, but just like, I would have wanted to see them. But you also know that I don't like live music, really. But still.
If you want to go, 100%.
I don't want to go.
I would love for you to go to concerts with me. You've made it rather clear that you do not like live music that much.
I don't think it's... Well, that's the thing, too. Because when you listen to an album on Spotify, a CD, however you listen to it, it's perfect, right? Like, everything's perfect. The way they mix it, do it. When you listen to it live, obviously live, you're getting the true... how they sound. Yeah, there's some tweaks.
It's an experience.
It is. I understand, but it doesn't sound that perfection. Yeah, and that's what kind of like.
Yeah, if that's what you're looking for, then go suck a dick because that's
go fuck yourself. I get it. That's
you know what I'm saying? Like that's.
But the other thing too is
certain bands,
like when I saw the Strokes. Yeah, I fucking hated it because they were drunk.
Yeah, but that's a bad performance.
Correct, but that tarnished anytime. I will never see the Strokes again. But I've heard from you and Louis, or mostly Luis, that when they did their performance recently, they were great.
They turned
and like they got their shit together. I'm like, sweet, but I will never fucking do it again because you already fucked up that first time. Like, I went to FIF with my friend Millie, and again we stayed there late because they were the last fucking headliner, and they sucked dick. Like, they were late, they were drunk. The Strokes were great. Not Strokes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, well, yes, but I don't think they were there. No, Interpol was great. I've never had a bad Interpol experience. Run the Jewels was there. It's the first time I saw them. I was like, fuck yeah. And they had such a small...
I just thought they fucking killed it.
They had such a small stage. But like, I was like, who the fuck are these guys? Like, you got this black guy and a white guy. Isn't that forbidden in music, in rap music? And they were so good. And I remember when I wrote down Run the Jewels, like when I looked at it weeks later, I was like, I don't know what that means. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's these guys. And I've been with them since. And they've not put out an album that I haven't liked. Like everything they've done has been phenomenal.
But all their albums are Run the Jewels albums.
Correct.
Like you can't, there's no denying that.
They're going to make a rock album next.
Yeah.
And then a jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd love that. But no, you're right. They all are that. There's no
so
deviation.
it's easy to enjoy them. It's easier to enjoy them.
Sure.
Whereas somebody makes like a big departure, like it's tough.
But that, again, that's the problem. Not a problem, but it's like, okay, let's say you sound like this for 3 albums. You're just, this is like, I sound like this, for 3 albums, and it's perfect. But then the next one, I'm like, like the 4th one. And so I change it, right? But if it's such a deviation from what it was before, that's where, it's not that I have a problem with it. Because like you said, you'll follow them until like whatever they're doing.
If it's
good.
Good.
That's admirable. But at the same time, if I'm listening
and you're not required to like it. Go ahead.
Correct. But like in listening to it, if I'm so accustomed to this, I know this makes me sound like a shit fan, but if I'm so accustomed to this and you're doing something different like that, it doesn't necessarily make me not a fan, but it just makes me kind of like, well, these ones were better. And so it's kind of like even thinking of like the Beatles. So almost the whole time, to me, they sounded similar until they started getting to like Sgt. Pepper.
Revolver.
Yeah, so they started getting like, so before they were kind of rocky poppy, and then they started getting kind of psychedelic-y, and
that's a perfect example.
So
I'm proud of you for making
all
this
of thanks. All of it was still good, but it's like it wasn't like a huge change that I would have been like, oh.
I mean,
but
it is a huge change.
But it still was the Beatles. They weren't like, it wasn't night and day. It was like night and dusk. It was like night.
Or, it was dawn and dusk.
Yeah, it
similar,
was,
but
it was dawn and then lunch. So like it was still there's still
it was brunch and lunch.
Or his breakfast brunch. You know what?
It was bunch of lunch. Shakey's.
But either way, and our sponsor today is Shakey's. So go get some Mojos and get some pizza and Mojos and go enjoy some Metal Slug on the arcade games and some fucking claw games that are rigged. But yeah, with that music, with the Beatles, I'm even proud of myself for talking about that because I'm not even a big Beatles fan. But I know you would.
But like you can understand, like if somebody was a fan of their earlier songs, like it's
why they wouldn't.
It's such a departure.
Right.
But if it's good, like you're willing to go along with it. If you just change and then it's bad, like I'm not required to. You're not even required to like it. You're not required to like.
I'm not required to anything. Yeah, I'm not required to like you. I chose to like you, and that's hard enough.
Yeah,
because I mostly hate people.
It just shows like your iron will, like willing to. Sit
I needed
in rooms.
friends, and so I was like, well, I'm new to La Habra, and I need somebody to like. Enjoy.
I mean, he can't ride a skateboard, but I guess he'll do the job.
He laughs at my joke, so perfect. Music and movies, like even directors, like they'll have a string of movies where like action, and then suddenly they do like a rom-com or they do a drama, and it's kind of like, dude, what's this fucking name that did Day After Tomorrow and Independence Day?
Roland Emmerich.
Yeah, like he has his niche. He's not deviating from that motherfucking thing at all. But if he did, then it'd be kind of like surprising, right? Everything he does, the world's ending. Moon crash, whatever the fuck it is. He has his niche.
Didn't Michael Bay do that like Shakespeare movie? Like where it's trying to say that Shakespeare didn't write his plays or something like that?
I don't know. But Michael Bay is...
vaguely remember it.
Michael Bay is a very successful director because he has his niche of just explosions, titties that you never fucking see. Thanks a lot, Michael Bay. Like you'll flaunt him, but you never... like, come on, buddy.
Weak.
Yeah. But at the same time... his movies are spectacles. Look at all the Transformers. Every single Transformers movie he did, whether it's Shia's, whether it's Mark Wahlberg's, whether it's Josh Duhamel, whoever's the lead in all those, they've all been successful. Even Bumblebee was good, and he didn't even direct it. He produced it. Actually, I don't think he directed after the first one. I think it was different people. He just produced them.
No, he directed all the
Did he really?
To my knowledge, yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking of how Steven Spielberg is. Like he'll produce, but he won't.
Correct. Yeah.
Like Jurassic Park, he did the first, didn't do any of the other one. Yeah, he did. He directed the second one.
Lost World.
I fucking love the Lost World still too.
It's
fucking.
It has its
it's
gymnastics.
Silly. Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring. It was like they kicked you off the team. Like that's the exact part I was gonna bring up because she kicks the raptor through the window and it lands on like those spiky wood or whatever.
So to get back to this movie in regards
after 25,
in regards to spectacle,
I
kind of I don't want to say I don't care, but like how this movie ends and like Gunpowder Milkshake, like, I mean, it's a shootout movie. That's why we're here, I guess.
Sure.
But
Nobody, I don't know if would that be considered a shootout movie? Yes, there was definitely those. But to me, a shootout movie is more like a Nobody or a. I just wanted Michael's making like the most confused face. And okay, so yeah, I would say this was a shootout, but at the same time,
well, so I mean, so this one specifically, I get a lot of feelings of John Wick, of course.
yeah, arousal.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which ends in like the shootout in the mall or wherever the fuck they are. I don't know where they are. And then Gunpowder
Equalizer.
Yes.
Both those movies are great too. But he like what? There's one in the hardware store, and then the last one's like in that city. As
but it's just it's just because at least John Wick is, I don't know, more interesting in the way it's.
Well, there's backstory to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff you find out about him. Like his wife's dead, and so you know she's already dead when the movie starts. But then he gets the dog, so he has that commitment to the dog. Dog dies, and as simple as that. That's the first movie. You killed my dog. I'm gonna fucking kill you. Well, you took my car too, and I'm gonna fucking kill you. The second one, I'm just getting my car back, and then now this guy like wants me to do this thing, and then the third one is him like running, and I say running that way because so.
I am apostrophe.
Yeah. He just felt like running. So
I was running.
But that's the thing. That's what I was gonna bring up too really quick. Is you made the John Wick reference. Was the gold part the reference to John Wick? Because I was told that there's a reference in this movie to them because the same writer.
I mean,
I think they had there's something in there that put them together.
Like they're in the same universe. Like
Correct.
Actually linked. Oh, maybe I don't know.
Was it the tattoo that they never talked about, or is that tattoo part of his service? Because like he was
the guy in the tattoo shop recognized it, so
that's
he
which
knows he's.
Which I wrote that down, and I was like, okay, so hopefully someone's going to come back to see that. And then when that woman found all of his data that was redacted and stuff, I didn't see any like tattoo reference, and I was like, well, I don't think they touched base on that again. So I think that might have been his
which is fine, because one, it's just like everything doesn't have to be told to you in the movie. Like
sure,
you can just,
at least not in the first one.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like if they're just setting it up for sequels, okay, that's fine too.
I mean, it did do well for what it was. It was like a 15 million budgeted movie, and it made like 60. So that's not bad. Like it made its money back plus more. That it's a smaller money back. Yes. Like if it made like over 100, I could see them making a sequel for sure. But I could still see them making a smaller sequel to this now because from what I was reading online,
it seems like it would go like straight to like Netflix or something.
Which is and that's perfectly fine too. But at the same time, it's I would watch a second one of this because again, I like Odenkirk so much. I didn't really like the ending of this movie too much, but everything prior to that ending, perfectly fine to me. And although the way they killed the villain with the claymore and like on the front, because like Odenkirk should have been blown the fuck back still too, but he's gonna.
No, he fell back too.
Did he?
Yeah.
Because I know the old guy, the bad guy, the Russian, he fucking got flown 20 feet. But I like Odenkirk just and he
there's this whole and they both went their separate ways.
Oh, okay.
Separate ways.
Maybe I wasn't fully paying attention, but I thought I only saw the Russian. Yeah. So
another thing I get feelings of is a history of violence.
With that dick.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of.
You're thinking of Eastern Promises.
No, I thought there was dick in
a history of violence.
Maybe not.
No,
Eastern Promises for sure in the bathhouse or whatever it was. Yeah, that's very courageous for him to show some.
But like it's the man trying to steer away from his past, and his past shows up, and so
a nice trope, and it can be done in many ways. And just like in a history of violence, like he's just living a normal
ass life.
Whatever. Like he's in the diner. He's a servant. Did he own the diner? Or he just worked in there. I think he just worked in there.
No, he had to own it.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Okay. But like even that scene was rough when they stabbed him in the foot.
Crazy Joey's.
I haven't seen the movie in a fucking long time. I've never seen Eastern Promises though, but I have seen the scene with his dick.
You have not seen it? It's a good movie.
Well,
it's good. Fucking watch it.
Okay. So the bus drivers, not bus drivers. To go back to those guys on the bus. Can you imagine though going through life just being that shitty?
Yeah.
Of a fucking like just don't fucking care.
I mean, I think I've said it before on the show where I know these shitty people exist, like, but I've just never. Yeah. Fucking real bros.
Yeah. Nice guys.
I've just never seen it out in like the real world like that. Like I've seen like crazy people and like them being violent because of like mental illness, right?
Yeah.
But never just like an outright just aggressive kind of
douchebag,
crazy douche, like hyper douche like that.
I don't think I have.
Maybe either. I have. I just it doesn't.
I don't think I have either. Obviously, I've seen many things online of like Tinder profiles and other things that like dudes will post online that like you say have neck beards that just think that they're God's gift, but then when you see them, they're like,
I wouldn't say
just
neckbeards do that, but anyway.
but just pieces of shit. With
I did go buy
samurai
a white
swords.
truck with a "Let's Go Brandon" sticker on it. I'm like, I'm sure that guy's a fucking piece
There
of
was
shit.
someone at work even recently when I was talking to them on the phone. They're like, they asked my name, and I told them, and they're like, "Oh, like Let's Go Brandon," and I was like, and I don't address it because I've been said that before. I don't address it, and then there's like a pause, and she's like, "You know, like the song," and I was like, "No, because there's a song," and I was like, "No, I know what you're talking about." And she's like, "Oh, okay." Like, maybe we just don't agree on our things. I was like, probably not.
She said that?
Yeah.
Oh, so she's aware of the awkward.
Yeah, how the implementation, how that song is and what it stands for. And I was like, yeah, probably not. And then there's another silence. And then I was like,
Good.
okay, we'll see you on this day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really the only unfortunate thing I could think of with being named Brandon, besides the fact that it's an odd number name. Like, there's 7 letters in Brandon. I don't like it. If I can make it 8, I could put an E at the end, Brandon.
Yeah, but if you ever put it on anything, it can be perfectly centered.
What?
You have an odd number of characters, correct?
Yes.
So
I could put my whole name on a license plate.
Exactly.
But
like if you were to put it like on a shirt.
yeah. Why would an even number not be able to do that?
Yeah, but it's like, that's a good point too. But I'm just saying, like, the center letter is like perfectly, you know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like a flying V.
You can literally in any design.
Yeah. I know. I'm just saying.
center it. I know what you're saying though. Like that, what the N would be the middle, but still.
Well, no, because you were saying it's odd. I'm like, it is odd, but you can center it, and
I
it'll
know what
still
you're
look
saying.
nice.
I know what you're saying.
That's
I 100%.
I am an idiot, but I'm just.
You're not
that's
an
the point I was
idiot.
trying to
You're just a dumbass. First of all, it's pronounced Dumas.
I quit that graphic design class too early.
Yeah,
I dropped
you dropped it after not even a class. You know what I took one time in college, thinking that it was gonna be like screen printing. It was printmaking. It is not the same. Like I had, like you were making like you would make like etches of like a stamp, and then you were doing like other things, and I was like, oh, this could be cool. I dropped it. Like I went to that first class, and of course I didn't want to be embarrassed and walk out in the middle of it and stuff. But I wanted screen printing, so I want to make some shirts and stuff. So. But yeah, if you go through life like that, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like just
Stop it.
Yeah, stop being like even when they're like, oh, who's this? To the girl. Luckily, that didn't proceed more to where that could have gone, where it's like, hello, lady, and like trying to touch her or something. But still, like that's fucked up. And it looked like he kicked that knife through that guy's leg. Am I incorrect? Because when he did that, I was like, oh,
I wasn't sure.
Okay, so he gets back on
the
the bus.
he kicked it deeper into the leg. I didn't know. I didn't see it come out the other side. But.
I don't think it did either, but he gets back on, right? He has the seatbelt in one hand and the knife in the other. He looks like he cuts one guy's throat, doesn't kill him. And then he stabs the one guy's thigh, and then they like push off each other. And then as they're getting up, he just kicks at that knife again, and it looks just...
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my God. So like he probably kicked in like the handle even a little bit, and that means it's a bigger wound. And you stab someone in the thigh, if you get that like inner like vein in there, you're fucking dead.
Artery.
You're fucking dead. Now granted, that was like the middle thigh, so maybe he shattered the guy's femur too, hopefully. But that part maybe kind of... Because that was the first action really in the movie. And again, I remember like laughing, but also like, you know, that, oh my God, like that's painful. Do you think that with that knife going through the leg too, that would give permanent leg damage?
Like nerve damage or something like that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Again, I would hope it shatter the femur, because the femur is what, the biggest bone we have in our body?
You're not going to shatter it, but you could hit it.
I don't know. Like if he kicked...
It's funny. I remember, it's funny you say that. Someone was talking to Tex Watkins, I believe his name, one of the killers in the Manson family.
Okay.
And he
Good person, right?
Yeah. I think he's had like 9 kids while in jail. People are insane.
Why are they allowing that?
I don't know what's happening. But anyway, one of the things he was saying is like, yeah, man, killing people is tiring. It's the constantly stabbing. And he mentions hitting bone while you're stabbing them and it hurts your hand or something like that. I'm like, oh, that's the most terrible thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
It's like there was a time when I was holding a knife and I did stab at something, and then my hand slid down a little bit and caught the knife. I was like, oh. Ooh. And like and then there's a thing that I had read, you don't want to stab somebody if your thumb is on the edge over the tip, because if you hit too hard, it'll push back and it can damage your thumb too. And I was like, well, but yeah, my hand slid just a little bit. I was like, oh, it cut my pinky.
I mean, that's why I don't understand Oren Ishii's sword in Kill Bill,
because it's just straight blade.
She doesnst have a
blade.
Or whatever.
Handle to blade. Yeah, she didn't have the protector.
Yeah, the protector.
But then Protector. Mr. Lecter, you're going to be my protector. That was a very bad Jodie Foster.
Please, Mr. Lecter. Dr. Lecter, sorry.
Dr. Lecter, please. I just need to know what What you think about
Need
this?
to know where Buffalo Bill is. Dr. Lecter, please.
I'd fuck me. Anyway, so that scene haunts me to this day. So
I mean, I know we've seen it already, but we need to talk about that movie at some point.
why do we talk about Signs of the Lambs?
It's because
Is there going to be a next
HBO
season?
Max.
Okay, I like that question. Is there a next season?
You might die tomorrow, bro.
You might. Well, luckily I have a bunch of recorded episodes I did by myself where I was talking to myself in the mirror. So you can just play those. Or you can just play the one-sided questions and then you can chop yourself into it. Jodie Foster. I wish I could just do more of her impersonations of her.
So back to the bus fight, not like the ins and outs of it, but I remember everyone making like a big deal about it, or as big a deal as you can make about it. It was good, but it's not.
I enjoyed it. Not as good.
It wasn't like
not as good as Shang-Chi's. Shang-Chi's was really good. The Marvel movie.
Also, I mean, and it's not as good as the bathhouse fight in Eastern Promises.
Well,
maybe just like in those fights like that, like if it's or what's the one with Carl and Firth? The in the church.
Is that in the church? Oh, that's oh my god, the Men. Kingsman.
The Kingsman.
The first Kingsman.
Like that scene is
that was bloody.
Insane.
That was bloody. But a lot. I mean, so that's the thing though. They made it seem like it was one continuous cut when it wasn't. But still, it was great.
I think that's what it is too. Like just more cinematic flair with like the one-ers and stuff like that. Yeah, I understand.
It's all pieced together.
The music too. Like the music is kick-ass in that.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even remember what song it is, but I remember it being good.
I thought it was for some reason Joan Jett comes to mind, but I don't think that
is it Freebird? The end of Freebird?
Maybe we'll look it up on more. We'll look it up.
I think it's Freebird.
I mean, it could be, and if it is, I mean that's the end of that song's fun.
Exactly.
Or even at the very beginning of it was a song by Boston, not 10. What is it? 25 to 64. Not that one.
That's Chicago.
I know. Shit, I didn't know that. But no, there's a song that I think Boston did where yeah, that song is that part is because then after that beginning, then it's like all right, this song's
say,
okay.
That song fucking slaps.
Yeah, bet. The Utes. But no, that beginning, because that was like a 5-minute beginning of that song, and then the rest of the song I'm like, meh. But that beginning part, because it drops and it gets heavy, and that's fucking tight. That should be our fucking theme song. Hey, Luis, make us a more fun song. Anyway, no, I'm kidding. I love the music you make. There was a question of mine where I thought, how long was this night? Where he's at the bus stop and then he's doing this and he went to that. How did he went to all those tattoo shops? So realistically, if he got off work at 5, he gets home, let's just say respectively at a little after 6, the bus ride to get home and the walk. And then from, let's just say 6 to 10.
Does he not have a car? But okay,
they have a car. He just doesn't use it. But then he uses the Metro card and they find it there. But then another scene, he's using the Metro card again. Did he buy another one? I don't like it. Loopholes. Fix it, Odenkirk. The chair to the face, as the guy
fix it.
Actor. It had nothing
not
to
the
do.
director.
Yeah. When they threw the chair at the guy's face, that made me laugh. Like, Ulik.
You think it's like a rubber chair or a computer? I hope they did practical.
I hope they did practical with like a rubber chair.
Like a foam. Yeah. That would have been funny.
Yeah. It makes me think of really quick practically in Mambi's where we had the roll, like it was a roll of, we put we just filled it with shit, but it just looked like it was full. And I threw it at Tom's face and the way it bounced off perfectly. And the next scene he's fucking bloody. But like obviously it looks like what it's supposed to. So I love practical effects. Practical effects will always win. Even if it looks kind of silly. But it's, there's a lot of digital blood in this movie. But,
that does
$15 million bucks. I mean, you're so limited. Squibs why are they so expensive? Like, fuck. What else are the notes? When you take a shower, do you use a loofah? Because look, he was just using a bar of soap. So he was cleaning after he killed all those guys in the house.
Right. I use a thing. Yeah.
Like a towel?
It's a lizard skin. No. I'll use a washcloth.
It's a rag.
I wash myself with a rag on a stick.
And he goes and fucking chases Lisa with it. But so I use a loofah because you're able to. But have you ever used?
Funny enough, I took one to New York on my trip.
That's hilarious.
Had you heard? I went to New York on a trip.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Also,
that's a sweet Patagonia jacket you have on.
Also, Logic is biracial. I don't know if you heard.
Is he? He's like Obama.
Charlie Puth is a perfect pitch.
Yeah.
But I took a loofah so I can fit it in my thing. Sure. The motherfucker fucking unraveled.
Well, if you get a cheapy one like
4
$1,
days.
yeah, if you get a cheapy dollar one, yeah. You gotta get like the $3 ones.
Now, I'm not saying I didn't take both ends and just fucking floss my asshole.
you put both nuts on one side and then you floss in between them.
Well, you got to do each side of it.
It's like you actually floss when you use your teeth. You do the one side and the other side.
Yeah, up in
That's
the
what
gum.
you did. You move the testicle to the testicle, and
If my taint were gums, they are
you know what
well
I think
maintained.
it is? It's that you have so much hair down there
Yes.
that it untangled it naturally anyway. It just kept. It was like very just rough,
It
like
tried
sandpaper.
as hard as it could to stay together, but
Yeah.
it's like fighting Velcro.
No, it's not Velcro. It's the other kind. Like not the Velcro that tears, but it's like that plastic kind. That,
where like almost snaps together.
Yeah, that's the fucking hard
I
one.
like that stuff.
I like that one too because it holds a lot tighter, but then it holds a lot tighter. So it's like it's stronger. But anyway, what I do like is that these Russian guys aren't sexist either because there's women that went into the place to kill him too. So I was like, oh, that's good. It's not just all dudes.
The douchey son.
Which 100%. I did not like his son at all. Like
I get it.
bag.
Like all the interactions I have with teenagers these days, and there's not that many.
Yeah.
But they're all douchey.
You need to stop prowling the high schools for new trim, buddy.
Well, yeah. I'm almost 40 years old. Please don't ever say that again. But yeah, they're douchey and they have attitudes and stuff like that. But what this movie didn't get though, it didn't get a resolution because he thinks his dad is a wuss as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think maybe when he walks
see
through the house of all the dead bodies, and maybe he's like, "Dang, my dad can fucking throw."
Is there even a shot of his face though? Like that's what I was like. I was just
really.
looking for a shot.
Well, the mom puts her hand back and holds his hand.
Like a look of awe at what his dad was capable of doing. We didn't even get that. So
Yeah,
you're
right. I think the wife had the biggest the resolution to it all. Like, okay, my husband.
Well, she knew him. It seems like she's aware of his past.
I don't know about
at least vaguely. Like
maybe
she seems pretty complicit by the end.
Oh, 100%. That she's like, oh, this is my life now. Yeah. Which again, that ending, you don't hear what's said on the phone, which you assume it's probably the RZA saying, hey, someone's coming after you, or the barber, or whatever the fuck. And the barber, really quick. I've seen that actor over the years.
Oh my god, totally forgot who
it was the black guy getting his like his beard shaved. But why did they call him the barber if he was getting barbered? And unless they're just saying, hey, go to the barber, and this guy that you know that works in the CIA or something's gonna be there. But like, what the fuck was that about?
Colin Salmon? I never heard of that guy before.
I don't know. I'm more of a Tim Fish kind of guy, but or
more of a Derek
Mike Trout kind of guy. Or no, Tim Salmon. I don't know who this.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna say Tim Salmon. So did I say Tim Salmon?
Check the tape.
Okay. Yeah, there's no tape anymore. It's all fucking digital. So
rewind that shit.
Yeah. Did he break his own wrist? Which it looked like he did, right? Or what did he break to get out of his handcuffs?
Maybe dislocated his thumb, maybe, or something like that.
Okay. I hear, but okay. So
I do enjoy every time he's explaining his past. He looks around, everyone's just dead.
Yeah.
By the time he finishes the story.
Yeah, he's the guy on the sofa, dead. The black guy, dead. And
I think that was funny.
When he pulls the pin out of the fire extinguisher, just like a grenade, I hear, don't use your fucking teeth, because those are in there to be like pulled hard.
Yes.
Because if they're easy to pull, they would just probably fall out. So they have to be hard to pull. So when you see that shit move, it's like tink. It's like terrible for your people try to do it and they'll pull their fucking teeth out. And so when Odenkirk did it, I was like, that could have fucking hurt. And he's old, so he might already have some fake teeth.
I want to say there was like a video of a girl, like just, on her webcam or something like that, maybe lighting a match with their tooth, and she
chipped it
and like chips her tooth, like fucks it up. I'm like, oh god,
she Jim Carrey'd herself. She Dumb and Dumbered herself. So, but I do like that though, that he's in there. Wouldn't you get an alert too if the trunk opens on more modern cars? Because I think mine tells me my trunk is still open.
It might, yeah. I agree, yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, what were you gonna say?
That's all I had.
Okay. Gold reference to John Wick. Chris Lloyd is old, and then the last thing that you and I had spoken about, foodies. I hate that word with a passion. I know it's still a word utilized now when you think of like Yelp elites and all that kind of shit. But even that's such a fake
fucking life.
I understand.
Like, Jesus Christ. Either you're a chef or you like to cook, but you're not a foodie.
That's why I specifically wrote that as a joke in Man Beast when it's like, hey, I don't want to make a thing, but I'm a Yelp elite, and the guy's like, that means nothing to me. Like, because again, I want to fucking point fun at that bullshit. That it's all it is just you go on Yelp, and if you're
an admirer of food, so you like to eat, like
you like to review
everybody.
a lot, you like to go to these places and just review and give 1 star, 2 star, like, oh cool, and you're invited to like certain events that Yelp is holding. Who gives a shit? But like to say that you're a Yelp elite and stuff like that's just
it just seems to me like the people who would describe themselves as foodies or use the term foodies are the same people who would just give themselves titles as in
they would suck their own dick.
I'm the kind of person who, and then finish that sentence. Like,
I'm not racist, but
yeah, like if you're doing that, then please kill yourself, because I have no time for that bullshit.
It's again foodie, the word alone. It's in the
also the kind of
dictionary.
people who are like, hey man, I just speak the truth. If you don't like it, then that's your problem. Like,
look, if I'm an oceanographer, I gotta speak the truth. No, it's a whale biologist. Fuck, that's my second Futurama reference. He's a whale or a whale, whatever.
There's one for you.
And what does he say? So he's like, at the end of that bit, he's like, so it's all done. She's like, but it's over. Like he yells at her, and it's nothing at all. I fucking love Futurama so much. Did you know that there's more followers in the Futurama subreddit than there is in The Simpsons?
Really?
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because everything is so like bespoke to yourself and your own taste.
Sure.
So you only see
what you like.
Unless you're on like popular, like you only see what you want to see. So
I only look at the stuff I follow. I don't look at popular.
Okay, well that's what I'm saying. Like everything is just your existence, like catered to yourself. So
yeah. Well,
so I don't see that at all. But that's because I'm on the
Simpsons, but not Futurama. Well, that's the thing. I'm in both. And then someone on Futurama posted it. When I went into that post, it showed like a screenshot of each one.
The number of
Futurama has like 100,000 more. I was like, that just seems
weird,
ridiculous. But then I went and checked.
You know what though? It doesn't seem ridiculous in that Futurama had such issues like staying on the air, that sort of stuff. So it almost
to get fans to bring it back,
exactly. So it has more of a cult following, and cult following would align with internet usage.
Sure.
More so than just general popularity.
I think the other thing about Futurama too is that they can do a little more, right? They're not grounded like The Simpsons are, because they can go to other planets. They can do all these other, they can make all, not that, it's a cartoon at the end of the day, and Simpsons can do whatever the fuck they want. But with Futurama, I mean, again, they had presidents' heads in a jar.
So what you're saying is mermaids can be black? That's what you're trying to tell me?
You know what's so troubling about that is the hatred, the posts that I've seen.
I fucking hate everybody who thinks.
Did I not tell you the time with an old coworker, when that movie was announced that she was going to be black, that she was like, my coworker's like, why does she have to be black? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, she's white in the cartoon. And I was like, okay. So what? And she's like, well, why can't we just keep things the way they are? And I was like, well, what's the problem in her being black? And she's like, well, because she's white. And I'm like, well, there was a black mermaid in the movie too. So is that not possible? Like, she's like, well, I just don't think we should change classics. Like if they're white, they should stay white. I was like, I don't agree with that at all. And whether she's black, whether she's brown, whether she's white, whatever she is, like, that shouldn't matter. The Little Mermaid in itself, you're watching for the story. It doesn't matter what color Ariel's skin is. Oh, but I just think they should stay white. If they're white in this, they got to stay white in everything. And I just thought how ridiculous that is, because there's many movies where they change the race of somebody, cartoons where it doesn't matter. And I saw a video. I think it was I saw it on Reddit, but it was from TikTok, and it was like all these like black children that were seeing it. They're like, hey, like she's like me, and it made me get teary eyed. Because like I felt bad that representation. Yeah. Now, luckily, with a lot of the Emmys that came out, there's a lot of, it was more diverse with the winners and stuff like that. But like slowly but surely, yes, more people of color are being more seen, which is great. But it's like
the vitriol against it.
It hurt me that these kids were like they now have something that they can look to or something, and I just don't think about it enough because I mean we're both people of color, but like I don't think about it like that because I'm half white, and that sucks. White people suck. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Everybody's going, see,
yeah. But I do. Whenever someone asks, I always say I'm Filipino. I don't say like I'm white. I always associate being like Asian.
Yeah, because then you're just like a weird looking white guy.
Mm-hmm. He's kind of androgynous if you really think about it. Like, what's going on over there?
But you say you're kind of Asian. I'm like, all right, that makes more sense. To my eyeballs.
I see it now.
That's just what I see, man. It's not racist. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not racist, but your eyes are kind of squinty. So no, it's just again, looking at that, like what's the fucking problem?
Yeah,
I don't understand, and it's
like
troubling.
They just want to like straddle the line of being a racist, like as close as they can, and then when you actually come out, like whoa, like who said anything about that?
Yeah, I wasn't saying that.
Because it was funny. It was like I want to say it was the director. What's it? Haley Bailey, right? That's the girl's name.
Yeah, when I kept fucking trying to say her name and I kept saying Halle Berry, I could not.
Halle Bailey.
I think it is
Halle Bailey. Yeah.
I think I've never heard her name said.
I think she sang the national anthem at the Rams game I went to right now recently.
The opener?
Somebody else. I don't know. Yeah.
Wait, wasn't there like a whole thing? Wasn't there like a big show? Wasn't Ozzy there or something too?
Yeah, he played halftime.
What the fuck was that about? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Was he like? He
was okay.
She couldn't help me. Like, was he not really?
He was coherent.
Okay.
He might not have been singing, but that's.
Oh, I mean, I never really expect them to really sing.
But Zach Wilde did the solo. It's actually pretty good. But anyway, like the director himself said, because it's supposed to be like, oh, it's not just about color. Like, we just want the right person for the job. So that's the excuse that they use. Like, so you're technically saying like, I guess so. No black people can be qualified, but like, that's what they're trying to say. But anyway, the director, I think, of the movie was saying like, oh, she came in and when she sang Part of This World, like his fucking heart stopped. Like it was so amazing. So like he couldn't imagine anyone else like putting that much emotion, like her singing this song. Like, so she is the best person for this job. But like, yeah, but still she should be white. Like, oh, you're just fucking racist piece of shit.
In a sense. And it's just
they're entrenched in their dogma. It's fucking whatever.
I've actually never really heard the word dogma used.
Ooh.
I mean, now I just want to watch the fucking movie, and I really enjoyed that movie too. But so that was Nobody, and we got sidetracked many a times, which again is the reason why I want to do the other podcast that we talked about. But so our next episode, Michael, it's what's it called?
Blowout.
Blowout. It's with John Travolta. From 1981. Brian De Palma.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on HBO Max. Something about a guy over here. He's like an audio engineer.
Well, it's funny. We had just had that discussion about audio, doing sound stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he's audio engineer, and I think like I haven't seen it, obviously. Yeah. So it's like he overhears something on one of his recordings, so he gets mixed up with some type of murder. So
kind of makes me think of The Net.
Yeah.
Although that movie fucking sucked.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Or even like what's the Clint Eastwood one where he sees like the senator murder that, like, because he's in the closet, he's a thief. Remember?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. And I think it's called Blood In, Blood Out.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I don't remember. But
it's a classic that I have never seen, and I always wanted to watch it. So we'll watch it.
Yeah, it's on HBO Max. John Travolta, directed by Brian De Palma. I'm sure there's other people in it but it's an older movie, unlike our most recent 6 movies that we're doing. But so thank you for listening to this episode of Spectacular. You can again make recommendations for us on our website, or you can email us directly at spectacular@gmail.com. And Mike, did you enjoy Nobody?
Yeah. If you're in the mood for like a shoot 'em up fun movie, it's fine.
Okay, I enjoyed it.
If you're not outside of that thing, like you don't need to see it.
Sure. Well, I think it was still enjoyable. It's barely an hour and a half.
But it's good to see Bob.
Yeah,
and
barely an hour and a half. Like you can do it. Like,
was it even?
I think it was 1:38, an hour and 38 minutes.
No, really? Mm-hmm. So I remember like barely turning it on, and by the time I looked over, it's like an hour 20. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah, it's just like I was watching the Adam Project. I actually really like that movie. Like Ryan Reynolds talking in that, like he's talking to a fucking kid, and it's supposed to be himself, but like. There's a part where he's like, "Isn't he so cute? You just want to hold him underwater until the bubbles stop." I remember like laughing because I'm like, now I know he's acting, but I was like, he's talking to a fucking kid.
Yeah.
And again, it's to himself.
Yeah.
But again, there's a lot of just Ryan Reynolds and even that kid having good chemistry and good timing and stuff. And Zoe Saldana's in it too, and she's phenomenal. And Mark Ruffalo. Ugh, that guy's a good looking dude. So anyway, Mike, why don't you take us away?
I mean, we just talked about someday we'll be watching movies on Spectacular.